Hello everyone, TLSG here. I've been seeing an uptick in Spider-Ham usage recently, and I've also been seeing a lot more decks rely very heavily on strong on reveals to either make or break that entire game plan. And in that same breath, I've seen a decrease in wave usage. So we've seen that bounce decks aren't necessarily hindered by wave, and so that is kind of driving wave out for a lot of decks and in a lot of cases. And so with that, we see an introduction back into the she-naut archetype. So if you guys have been around for a while, you know that she-naut was infamous when it first kind of rolled out at being able to surprise the opponent for 8 cubes at a time, because you are just anticipating really the infinite, and then all of a sudden you're slamming a She-Hulk in addition to it, and it just became very hard to manage until it was a well-established known deck. And so we have had some extra cards released, we've made some tweaks to it to give us the best of both. There was a Moon Girl She-Hulk double down, and then there was a she-naut. And so we've kind of merged those two ideas to have multiple play lines and consistent way to put a lot of power on the board on the last turn of the game. And so the main idea is to get a Sunspot, a Nebula out early. We can protect that with an armor, so we can block those destroy decks as well. And then we can look to use our Cosmo to heavy counter any strong on reveals that the opponent is leaning towards, like a bounce deck. We also have Psylocke and Magic. Both of those are here as enablers for both a She-Hulk and Infinite drop. So a Psylocke on 4 into a skip on 5 allows you to do both a She-Hulk and Infinite on 6, or Magic on 5 into a skip on 6 into flooding on 7 allows a lot of way to position power on the board. Now, of course, with any Magic usage, you have to be cautious of the opponent having potential lane change cards. If they have those built in, I would shy away from relying so heavily on the Magic play and rely more on just getting your power out where you can, rather than like that cheeky burst of power. But I've had a lot of success with this deck on both ladder and in the silver conquest. And so we're going to take this into a gold conquest. We're looking for a little redemption. We're going to see if we can take the she-naut deck all the way through the gold conquest to grab another infinity ticket. Thank you guys as always for being here. Let's go ahead and jump straight in. All right, first up we have 100%. Whoa. And we get hit with Lamentis right away. We do have Moon Girl and She-Hulk. We don't know what kind of deck the opponent's running yet. Let's do the Nebula. And honestly, we may snap here in just a minute. Being able to double down on the Titania and the She-Hulk is huge. Okay, never mind. We are not going to snap into that one. I'm guessing they're maybe a very combo-driven deck, and they just didn't have the pieces they needed after Lamentis. I don't know. Take the retreat. And so they have at least a 1 cost built in. We saw that it drew for them. Oh, no, it's a Thanos list. That is why they retreated. That makes an awful lot of sense. We do have Psylocke, She-Hulk, Infinite. Beautiful setup. Beautiful starting hand to enable us to flood a lot of power. Now, we do have to worry. Ooh, we hit their Green Goblin, which is now going to be stuck on their side of the board. So they had an incredibly low hand, but we have to worry about like a Spider-Man or Professor X lock, because that becomes very difficult for us to navigate against. Let's play the Nebula into the Nexus. They could run maybe a Killmonger, but this looks like a control-heavy version. I don't think they're going to run Killmonger. I think they will have Spider-Man and Professor X, so we have to be cautious of that here. We could do Psylocke now into a Moon Girl on 4 or a Magic. Let's go ahead and we're going to skip here. Magic could give us some surprise burst of being able to counteract against a Spider-Man play on 5. So they used Polaris, no Time Stone or anything like that. So I think we do have to play into the Avengers compound on turn number 5. So we won't be able to change the Nexus. We can do Moon Girl. That will allow us to Magic on 5. We can skip, do a double She-Hulk plus Infinite on turn number 7. Now, we do have to be very, very cautious of the Reality Stone. So Soul Stone, Time Stone comes down now, so they will be able to do a 6 cost. They do go ahead and play the Reality Stone, and that changes the right location into Death's Domain. And so we are a little bit safer now. Now, they will get a Daredevil read here, which is a little bit scary. The Daredevil read, if we change de-nexus, we actually can't compete for Death's Domain anymore. But if we don't, and they Spider-Man, they Professor X, something big, it becomes really tough for us to win it. They have already snapped. I don't like it, but we're gonna go ahead and magic into Death's Domain. Next turn, we will skip and float. I expect either a Spider-Man or a Professor X here. Okay, double drop Nebula and Professor X. This is beautiful. So they're going to continue to scale here. We'll get a little bit, but nowhere near what we're going to need. So we would have to like vastly outpower them in these other lanes to get anything of merit. I'm going to go ahead and skip and soak here. If they change, okay. I was going to say if they change Limbo, I cry. I cry and I quit. All right, this is going to be a tough match. This is going to be a very tough match for us with them having both of those heavy control mechanisms. A control Thanos is something that is pretty scary, but not unbeatable. Blocking their Spider-Man with a Cosmo would be pretty good. Being able to somehow dodge both of those control mechanics and be able to flood on the last turn will give us enough power, because control usually comes at the cost of giving up some of their additional like power. And so it's usually more control heavy is less power output overall, but you can control the board state better. But if you ever don't get to do that, it's usually a lot harder to win. I'm going to go ahead and play Nebula, knowing they have a Polaris. We're going to go ahead and do Nebula in the left lane. They could have a Carnage, maybe? Sanctum Sanctorum is something. I wouldn't say it's good necessarily. We can do Psylocke into a turn 3 Moon Girl to make sure we hit the double She-Hulk. But I do like the idea of doing a Psylocke into a turn 5 skip, maybe, with this being as restrictive as it is. These two locations, I think we have a better chance of fighting here. Let's do Cosmo. Next turn, we'll be able to do Moon Girl into the negative zone. Use Polaris to pull our Nebula out. Oof. Okay, so let's do Moon Girl here. It's either Moon Girl or Psylocke, one of the two. These are really bad for the negative zone, though. So let's do Moon Girl. That will double down on our She-Hulk. We'll be able to skip and soak. They won't be able to... They could Professor X lock us in this left lane, but they couldn't Spider-Man lock us over there. And so then we will be able to have some room to flood on that last turn. Let's skip and soak here. I don't necessarily like it. They could have a Jeff built in. Honestly, they could have a Jeff built into their deck very easily. So they Spider-Man lock the right location. We get an extra +2 here, but the Jeff just... We're not able to compete against the Jeff play. So we're going to retreat out for 1. We're down horrendous, you guys. Down absolutely horrendous. I'm going to do Sunspot. They could control this left lane with like a Time Stone into an early Professor X lock, but we're going to have to... We're fighting. We are absolutely fighting here. Let's go Spider-Ham into We Will See. I don't know exactly where we'll play after this, but we'll see. The Daredevil comes down. Okay, so they will get a Daredevil read. We hit their Valkyrie. You cheeky lad. 100% being cheeky with this deck. Oof. They're not going to get a Daredevil read. Oof, that's tough. Now we could try to trick them, right? We could do Psylocke into a magic in Clintar on 4. Do we do that? They could change the Clintar location as well, right? I don't know. We're just going to let it ride. Time Stone. Ooh. Time Stone on 3 tells me Professor X in the left lane. On turn number 4 is likely. We can Moon Girl. But that, I mean, it doesn't really give us much in terms of like it being good. They could move one of their 1 costs out of the Savage Land. They do. They move Raptor over since it's going to merge. Then they go Soul Stone instead in the Savage Land. Ooh, wow, interesting. They ramped and then they didn't. Okay. Savage Land is now capped. We do have magic to extend the game, so if they go with a Spider-Man here, they'll have to follow up with a Professor X. 3, 4, 5. Either way, we 100% don't have this one. Because next turn we'll draw Chavez. We have no chance of drawing into our She-Hulk. 0 chance. 0 chances to draw into our She-Hulk here. We do extend the game with... we do extend the game. Their nebula continues to scale, becoming just atrocious in the process. Oh, Lord, have mercy. They also have Reality Stone that they could drop, yeah? If we had a way to overcome this location, I think we would fight against the Reality Stone, but we don't. So, slow and steady wins the race, right? We need one to just pop in our favor, and for 100% to make a mistake. We're now in the double stakes rounds, the high stakes rounds, unfortunately. Let's go Nebula. We have armor. We do have Cosmo to block some of their own reveals. Let's see if we can get this. Soulstone comes down. They get the additional draw, which is good. Thanos decks are very dependent on that early draw a lot of times, though. Ooh. You get a lot of value from Wakanda Embassy. We also have to remember that they have the Valkyrie, the cheeky Valkyrie, to offset some of our stuff. And so Space Stone comes down. They could move the Soul Stone over if they want to, but I doubt they do. And so let's see. Let's see how and where. Oh, wow. Cosmo is unfortunately fortunate. I think this is our chance. I want to shuffle our cards back in. A Thanos deck uses those stones early, draws a lot of cards, gets a lot of extra value, and with the Teal'c, that sets it back to ground zero. And so we're going to Cosmo that lane. I anticipate them trying to do like a Reality Stone here, and we're going to try to block it. No, they just play for the left lane. Okay, super interesting. So Soulstone comes down. They do pull our Nebula out. Oh, that is so unfortunate. Which is going to merge next turn in Clintar. Super unfortunate. She-Hulk or Moon Girl. Moon Girl, Sunspot, and Spider-Ham on the next turn. Maybe? Maybe that's our line. I don't know. It's just awful. The Nebula. Okay, Nebula into the Teal'c is big. They do get the Mind Stone back out again, which does give them that additional draw. The Power Stone, unfortunate for us. Very fortunate for them. Do they have a lock mechanic? If so, we're DOA. This will make each one 3 if we do both of these. It'll make both of the She-Hulks cost 3. But I don't know if that's worth it or not. I'm going to try it. See if maybe they go with a Professor X lock in mid. And we can just scale around it. Okay, Viper and Time Stone. Okay. If we ever had an opening, I'd say it was here, right? No Valkyrie here. They have initiative, so Valkyrie's not huge in any of the other lanes. I think we do She-Hulk and then split the She-Hulk and just give up this middle location. That's my gut read. It's for, oh wow, they give up the middle location, or they give up the middle location as well. No way. Oh, well, Reality Stone is okay. We win the left, we win the right. We just needed that one small chip. The one small break in that armor, the one small lucky break in our direction to get us back in this game. And so after 4 very slow, very tedious retreats when we weren't advantaged, we were able to luckily hold this one down. They're now down to 3 bars of health after some impeccable plays for the first 5 rounds. One small break is all it takes. Okay. And so I had to skip the first couple of rounds. So, Nidavellir is great for them if they can get that locked down. What if we do... I guess Cosmo is going to pull straight into Astrodem, right? Do they play one more card into Nidavellir? We could always do this and send them Titania and try and cap out their location. Could also rely on a Moon Girl next turn. Let's do this. I'm going to try to use the majority of our like lower end cards with Grand Central potentially pulling into a card for us. And so they do end up playing for Nidavellir. They will... Oh, never mind. I forgot. Polaris will pull the cards, the 3-cost cards over, so that makes this a little bit trickier to navigate. But we do have both 1 costs in Nidavellir now, interestingly enough. So let's do Moon Girl. Let's do... I guess we go ahead and do Spider-Ham and see if we can maybe get them to a tricky spot with Nidavellir and with capping out Nidavellir. Moon Girl is going to double our Infinite and our Cosmo, so whatever pulls into the Grand Central would be big if they don't change it with the Reality Stone. And that's a big if. We hit their Spider-Man. Huge value hitting that Spider-Man play. So the Viper, the Power Stone. So far, so good. Cosmo actually is not as big as I was thinking. They definitely have initiative here. Let's do this. Since they have initiative, if they try to go for Professor X lock here, that will leave Titania on this side. If they don't, then Cosmo's going to move over. Nebula will pull the Titania back onto our side, giving us a little bit of advantage in Nidavellir. Infinite into Grand Central's big. They can't go with the Spider-Man lock, so we get some value here. Maybe we can close this one out. We're hoping. Okay, and so they do go with the Professor X lock into Grand Central, which is unfortunate. Because now if they do a big play into Nidavellir, I guess actually, they do a play into Nidavellir and it's going to shoot Titania back to our side. So as long as we leave more than one energy here, we could win this one. Is it worth the extra 1 cube risk? I don't think it is. Because a Devil Dino, I guess Devil Dino's not huge. Maybe it's worth the risk. Let's do the Cosmo in the left lane. That gives us a little bit, it's probably not worth the risk, but I am going to take it. They do play, they play in Nidavellir. Interesting. Time Stone's going to send Titania onto our side of the board. We're going to skip, soak, float. We win. Not what I thought that last turn would be. That was the Time Stone here. I think they were probably trying to mind game around us playing into Nidavellir, hoping that they wouldn't, so that the Titania would stay on their side. But I'm glad that we chose to not play there and just soak instead. We will take the victory from what was a very tough first 5 rounds, very grueling, difficult decisions to retreat where we didn't have an advantage, into finding a way to break open that armor in the later rounds. Let's go ahead and take the round 1 victory. That one definitely feels better than yesterday's video's first round, where it felt like we were playing an obvious spot. That one was very, very good. It's just a couple of small plays swung in our favor. Let's go ahead and take the win, and we'll jump straight into battle number 2. All right, so jumping straight into battle number 2 with the she-naught deck. All right, next up we have Ash. Let's see if we can catch him. We have Ash. We're going to go ahead and play Nebula into the vault. We don't know what kind of deck they're running, so a protector like an Armor or a Cosmo would help us breathe a little bit easier about the Nebula play. Also, had we played it into Wakanda, we'd be able to breathe a little bit easier as well. That's fine. Let's go ahead and play Spider-Ham. We'll get a little bit of information about what kind of deck the opponent's running. Shang-Chi. Interesting. So we know that it's a counter deck of some sort. Could be a Sarah counter. There's honestly a lot of counter decks that it could be. We could do Psylocke into Magic on turn number 4. I don't know that we want to go with Magic, though. I also don't know that we want to go with Psylocke. So we're just going to Sunspot. We don't have Moon Girl. We don't necessarily need the hand space yet. They play a Bishop. So maybe it's a bounce. It could be a Sarah counter, like a Sarah tech counter deck. Or it could be bounce that's running the Shang-Chi tech. Now, I'm going to run Armor into the left lane. Okay, so it is a Sarah tech, Sarah counter. So I anticipate the Killmonger is built into their deck somewhere. So the Sentinel, they probably have Hitmonkey as well, which may be what they dropped here. Let's go ahead and we're going to change this left lane so that we can fight for it on the last turn. But that also means that they can fight for it on the last turn. I don't know. We're okay with it. Wait. So Magic seems good. But knowing that this deck typically will have like a Scarlet Witch or some way to change a location, I think we have to lean away from the Magic play in this game. We can do Moon Girl. Next turn, we can skip Float. We can Soak. We can do a double Titania drop on the last turn. Potentially. Or maybe we do Titania on... Oh, no, we can't skip and Soak because this is turn number 5. Okay. Well... They go Scarlet Witch. So they do have the lane change mechanic. So had we done Magic, it would have immediately changed it anyways. Unfortunate. But it is what it is. They will be able to fight for this left location. So they do a Mysterio here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gives them at least 5 power here. And that's putting it very gently for 5 power. Do we risk the 8 here? I almost feel like we do a tactical retreat. That's unfortunate. I snapped whenever we were leaning more towards the magic play, but then realizing they had the Scarlet Witch, we had to kind of backtrack a little bit. That's unfortunate. That's not what we want to see, but it is what it is. We know a lot about what kind of deck they're running just based off of the few cards. Really, if you see Sentinel mixed in with like a Scarlet Witch, Kitty Pryde, it's going to be a Sarah counter, like a Sarah tech deck. So Kitty Pryde is probably very common. Not Kitty Pryde, Killmonger is probably very common. Now we do have Psylocke into She-Hulk plus Infinite, which will be infinitely beautiful. We can give up the Avengers compound since that's going to take one of their big turns. They'll probably drop their Sarah there on 5 though. But if we can get a way to protect the Nebula, so maybe Cosmo could do it. Armor is going to be better though. So they do have Sentinel that they'll be able to continue to play. We'll be able to do a She-Hulk here. Ooh, Death's Domain is kind of interesting. Let's go Cosmo into the big house. The main reason being we want to protect from a Hitmonkey play. So being able to do the Cosmo here, they won't be able to do a big Hitmonkey flood into the big house. So they'll have to rely on other things to get that power there. And so that gives us a better chance of our 9 power She-Hulk being enough. We do get magic. Let's do Psylocke. We're going to assume that we're going with the standard skip and then flood on the last turn, unless they do their Scarlet Witch this turn in Death's Domain. That opens up a little bit of possibilities for us. Okay. We do have to worry about this one. We have to worry about this one, but the only place they can run their Killmonger is here. So their Hitmonkey has to be funneled into this left lane. Let's... Magic? Or do we just skip here? Into big She-Hulk, big Infinite. Because one of their cards is going to be the Killmonger, right? But I do like the idea of being able to get extra power here. I'm going to go ahead and skip and soak. Sarah, yeah. Sarah comes down. We do keep not having initiative. I feel like this lane is very, very susceptible, though. Infinite in the left lane is the only place they could play their Killmonger. So then they only have 1 additional space to play. So 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 9 just off of those 2. And then the last one would be like a Mysterio. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's already above our middle reach. But their Hitmonkey here, we could outpower if they go with that. I'm going to risk it. I don't know. Probably shouldn't, but we are going to risk it here. Oh no, the Angela in mid is big. I don't think they have the Killmonger. The Kitty Pryde. Oh lord. Wait, we outscale that right lane. Huge value from the Nebula. We outscale that right lane. The Infinite's going to outscale the left lane. Oh my goodness. Had they thrown anything over there, that would have been their round. They stacked very heavily into the big house, and then also very heavily, I guess the Hitmonkey, that was the only place they could have played it. We will take the 4 cubes. We are back in this. After a bad first round, snap into a snap back into an immediate regret, we're going to slowly have to chip away here. Let's play the Spider Ham. We're going to throw it out into the sea and see what we hit. We're going to throw it into the right lane. Spider Ham hitting a Sarah would be big. That takes away a lot of their flood potential, which is massive. Wow. A la Murder World. I can only imagine what this last location is going to be. Let's go armor. Next turn, we can go Cosmo into whatever lane we want to be a little bit easier to overcome from the Hitmonkey play. They do go Sentinel into Hala. What is this last location? Throne room. Okay. So being able to get our Infinite over there could be pretty big. I guess we don't have to Cosmo yet, right? We could do Psylocke next. We have to look out for the... Okay. I have to keep telling myself and reminding myself that we have to look out for the Scarlet Witch plays. We're going to do Cosmo into Throne Room. They won't be able to do their Hitmonkey. That becomes a very easy to win lane, or should be a very easy to win lane and then we just have to worry about focusing on one of the other ones. So Nebula's decent. Let's go ahead and play our Psylocke, though. That will allow us to, if we top deck into Infinite, we can always skip float and then drop the Infinite on the last turn, but that's a very iffy chance. Okay, so they have the Sentinel coming down, the Nova coming down again. We do get She-Hulk. So a skip into a She-Hulk and a Chavez could be a little bit of a surprise. Let's go with that. I don't know. Against the Sarah Tech, it's very boring until it's not. So the Sarah Tech deck is one of those decks that it's not exciting to run, but it's pretty impactful, pretty efficient. It has answers to most of what the opponent has and can do. So the Angela and the Sentinel come down in Murder World. Interesting. I imagine that they will run the Killmonger at some point, and that's why they're not worried about the Nebula. I imagine. This is 5. They get a decent little flood, right? Left and right and call it good for 2. I think a Killmonger comes down somewhere, depending on how much they can flood, though. Without the Sarah, that reduces how much they can really flood realistically on that last turn. Okay, so the Sentinel. We can overcome that in the left lane. Killmonger. We can overcome that in the left lane. As long as our She-Hulk in the right lane is bigger than their Bishop, we should be fine. And it should be. And so the 9 in the left, the 9 in the right is going to be a cheeky way for us to find another 2-cube kind of cut in their armor. They now have 4 left. Let's see if we can bring this one home. Jumping straight into round number 3. Round number 4. Whew, I forgot we lost one. So we have the Nebula, we have the armor, which is going to be a good start. The Forge, we're probably not going to play there, but it can help us clear out our curve a little bit if we need to. Muir Island, that's unfortunate. Let's go armor into the Nebula lane. I imagine we always have to protect our 1 costs with armor. And so maybe we throw Sunspot there as well, depending on what this location turns out to be. Ooh, Kiln is huge. Let's do our Sunspot. Or do we do Cosmo? Cosmo and then Sunspot? And then we're just looking to flood one other location? I feel like they have to Scarlet Witch over there, right? Go ahead and snap into it. They snapped right back. This gets really big really quick. I'm hoping they drop their Scarlet Witch into Kiln this turn, and we can overcome that with the Cosmo play. And then we just drop our Sunspot there next turn. Ooh, no, they play for Muir Island instead. Okay, so with them having the Bishop there early, that scales dramatically. Can they get anything that outscales our Nebula? They would have to do Hitmonkey and Mysterio, which is going to be 10. Mysterio and Hitmonkey becomes 10. I don't think they can. I almost want to Moon Girl. Double Titania drop on the last turn looks super enticing. Sunspot and Soak. Let's do Sunspot and Soak. Okay, they do play away from Kiln. That's unfortunate. The Angela's big. Scarlet Witch comes down. So now Magic is a free-to-play card. We don't have to worry about them changing a lane anymore. That makes this a little bit more manageable for us, giving us additional time to draw into some of our other resources. Potentially. Ooh, She-Hulk here is actually large. Such a large card for us to get. Let's go with Magic? Magic into Muir Island so they can't continue to scale. They can only play a handful of cards, so Bishop is very limited in how big he can get. Magic, Skip, She-Hulk, even She-Hulk and Chavez and Titania would be massive. Let's go ahead and go with that. We'll go Magic into mid. They go Sarah for the reduction. That's perfectly fine, my friend. You're not going to have enough space to really utilize all of that real estate that you need. Now, if they have a second lane change mechanic in here that we haven't seen yet, like a Storm, super scary. But we know that they have the Shang-Chi because our Spider-Ham hit that at one point. And so that leaves only one card, which I think is probably Chavez as a consistency driver. So let's go ahead and skip. We soak in the right lane. Next turn, we unleash the Flood. And I think that should be enough, hopefully, to allow us to win. We also have the 1 out of 3 to draw into Infinite, which would be massive. An Infinite, She-Hulk plus Titania, there would be, I think, no way that they could overcome that. They do play one card here, Sentinel. Okay, whew. We're fine with the Sentinel play. And they will have initiative, so their Shang-Chi counters, those are not a concern. Infinite? Infinite top deck? No, Spider-Ham top deck. All right, this is still really, really big. Going last, we can guarantee the Titania stays on our side. This is going to be 18, 21, 26. Can they beat? I don't think they can beat that. So we are going to go ahead and lock in all into Limbo. We feel okay with this one. An Infinite would have just absolutely sealed the deal here, and it would have been no question. But a She-Hulk and Chavez plus Titania is a nice little addition. Flooding into the left lane is also possible. Maybe we should have done that. 26. It would have been 26 over here. Ah, man. We probably should have flooded into Xandar. Oh, well. It is what it is. Okay, and so they go, ooh, Mysterio. Mysterio Hitmonkey? No, Mysterio. Ooh. The Nova Killmonger is kind of big. But like pumps that left lane pretty large. Depending on where the real... Actually, no, this has to be the real Mysterio. And so we're okay. We did choose the right lane. This one, I think we would have lost this left lane. Yeah, we would have lost the left lane. So committing to that Limbo location turns out was the right decision. We will absolutely take the round 4 victory against Ash, running the Sarah counter tech deck. Let's go ahead and jump. Let's go ahead and finish this one out. See the animation into battle number 3, and then we will jump into that last battle to see if we can bring this one all the way through for that Infinity ticket. All right, jumping straight into battle number 3. Let's see if we can close this thing out. All right, for our final big bad, we have HungryHippo sporting the Infinity avatar. So we know that they were able to overcome the Infinity Gauntlet last season. This should be a good match. Let's go ahead and play our Nebula into the right lane as we gather some information about the opponent. Now, the Moon Girl, the She-Hulk with Wakanda Embassy is huge value because we'll be able to flood all of these on the last turn, both of those on the last turn, to just get some phenomenal just power presence on the board. And so we'll see. We'll see as we gather some more information. Ooh, with the Elysium is big as well. Moon Girl to double down on these 3 could be big. We could also play it a little bit slower. We could do Cosmo next turn on 4. We could do Magic. Give us an additional turn to potentially draw into our Infinite. A double She-Hulk, Infinite, double Titania would be massive. I guess we probably want to do this turn. We won't be able to draw next turn, but that's fine. We're okay with that. Let's go Moon Girl here. Once we get a little bit of information about what kind of deck they're running. Ooh, a Mr. Negative deck. Benefits greatly from Elysium. Oh my goodness. That is scary. That convinces me that we do not want to go with a Magic play. Let's play Cosmo in the left lane. Maybe we can block like a Black Panther. I don't know. Oh, never mind. Cosmo's not going to go into the left lane. We would have blocked a Magic, but unfortunately we did not. Because of Astor Nim. Unfortunate. They also get the Psylocke out. So if they have a Jane Foster here, huge value for them. What kind of high roll are they looking at? They're looking at Iron Man, maybe Null, Black Panther. Let me look at some common Mr. Negative decks. It's been a long time since I've fought a Mr. Negative deck. And I mean, we don't have a bad chance. It's just probably not as good as what they have. Hitting the Mr. Negative 1/3 and the game extension with Magic is big. I'm thinking Wong Black Panther kind of business. We're gonna stay into this one for now. Let's do Spider-Ham. Let's do a Magic of our own just because we can. And then next turn, that'll give us the room to skip and soak so that we can do this double She-Hulk Flood, the Titania, and maybe an Infinite as well. Okay, we hit their Blue Marvel, so we now know a little bit more about their deck. So Blue Marvel, I'm plugging that into Untapped because I'm unfamiliar with this version that they're running. The Iron Man is big. Iron Man into Mystique, huge. Huge, huge, huge. They could be running, Spider-Man? They get the double, Mystique pulls over into Astrodam, so they get the double up here. Massive. If they run the Spider-Man play, that is scary. That's in the top result. May not be that one, but that's in the top result. We're kind of in uncharted waters here. I mean, we're still going to play it as normal. We're going to skip Soak Float. Devil Dino. Okay. Devil Dino is an odd one as well. Into the Zabu. So they do max out their middle location. Do they have, what? Ironheart? There's no related decks on the ladder either. Oh my god, they're running something brand new. Okay. She-Hulk. She-Hulk. We go last, so Titania. Sunspot? That doesn't feel great. but we're gonna let it rip. Oh my god, what is... Okay, Jubilee is big. Digging all the way through their deck, guaranteeing the White Tiger comes down. It's a big right lane. The Ironheart comes down. It hits only once in mid, so that could be manageable. I don't know. The She-Hulk, the Titania, gives us enough in the right lane. We have enough in the middle location. Had Ironheart hit middle one more time, we would not have been able to overcome that. But my goodness, did we get incredibly fortunate. So the pig was Blue Marvel. And then we're missing one other card. And it was the last card in their deck. Maybe a Wong? Seeing the Ironheart, seeing the White Tiger, I'm thinking Wong. Let's go ahead and take the 4 bars early. Let's jump into the next one. That one we took a calculated risk on the Ironheart, hopefully not hitting what they needed. Maybe had they dropped it earlier and had more guaranteed triggers, but I don't think they thought we were going to flood that much power into that location. So we know that they don't have a way to overcome or destroy 1-cost cards. So they're not running like the counter heavy. So like the Black Panther, the Arnim Zola, the Null. They're not running those. And so we can breathe a little bit easier dropping some of our cards a little bit earlier. We can do Psylocke into Moon Girl on 3, guaranteeing that we get our She-Hulk and Titania doubled. I kind of like that. It gives us more flood potential. A lot more reach into the big house. We don't necessarily want to rely on magic. So we could do like the Psylocke on 4 into skip on 5, but I think this is a little bit better. Let's go Moon Girl. Okay, well. Okay, never mind. We won't go Moon Girl then. The Kiln was going to be a really tough location for them. Having only this space to play with like their bigger cards until they hit a Mr. Negative. So let's go ahead and jump into the next round. We are 5 bars up early. Let's see if we can continue on that upward trend. Spider-Ham. If we snipe their Mr. Negative, it'd be beautiful. We do have Infinite and She-Hulk already, which are also massive. Now an invert, we hit the Devil Dino, so that is going to be a very lackluster 5-cost now, my friend. Morph. Morph could be wild. I think we eventually go Mighty Morphin Marvel Snap players. Especially if they hit an inverted card. If they hit a Mr. Negative, we give them a couple turns to draw, and then we slap down Morph. Could be such a huge surprise element. They do get Zabu. This could be beautiful. Ooh, Oscorp Tower is not great. We can kind of fill up their location, though. Like, these 2 cards are very lackluster in terms of, like, value for them. So I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to play Psylocke into this lane. They could do a Mr. Negative and exchange us Mr. Negative for these 2. That's okay. They go left lane. Interesting. Lockjaw? Mr. Negative Lockjaw? HungryHippo, what kind of cook are you cooking, my friend? Wild. Absolute wildness. Let's go ahead and play our Cosmo in the left lane for the inevitable rotations into White Tiger, Magic, that sort of thing. I am going to go Armor there as well. And unless we skip and soak, we won't be able to do the morph. Ooh, Mr. Negative into a rotation is big. You don't get that very often. And it's been... this used to kind of be the ideal like combo for Mr. Negative before Jane Foster came around, was like a Lockjaw Mr. Negative high roll. And I forgot all about that. That's like a core memory they just unlocked for me. Skip and soak into a She-Hulk morph. She-Hulk morph on the last turn and pray? They have drawn one time here. We could always morph here. Maybe we morph now. They could go magic. They're going to go magic. Blue Marvel, they did not go magic. Oh no. Okay, so this next one would be the last turn. They would flood whatever remaining they have. Do we go... I think we go Mighty Morphin, just Hail Mary player. Just because it's the fun play. There's a lot of bad that this could hit. Mystique is one of them. Jubilee could give us some value. White Tiger, potentially value. It's not... Oh, it could hit their Devil Dino. I don't like it as much now. That took the fun out of it. Let's do the She-Hulk and Morph. I think we lose. We'll see. They do use Mystique to copy the Blue Marvel, leaving 3 cards in their hand. Devil Dino is one of them. Ironheart comes down. That's very, very big. The Jubilee pull, so we're not going to hit that. Jubilee does not pull, but it does rotate into the Mr. Negative. And what do we morph into? Magic! We extended the game. Let's go. Oh, no. Okay, well, that's one way to get your game extended, I guess. They have initiative, what, a Chavez and a Titania? They could go Iron Man here. Inverted Iron Man would be massive, but I think it's worth playing out for nothing other than just giggles at this point that we morphed into their magic. We know that is one of the cards they have in hand is the inverted magic play, which they can't play now, and they couldn't have played last turn. We did morph into it. So we know they have morph and a dead draw of a Devil Dino. And so an inverted... Ooh, wait. They can play it? You can't play this on turn 6. You can play it on turn 7. Wild. So Jubilee's going to rotate. Hopefully not into... I guess I don't know what they could hit. That's fine. That is fine. We do secure the 2 cubes against the cookinest cook deck I have seen in a while. I don't know how consistent it would be. I feel like there's a lot of ways that it could be overcame in power, but I do like the idea of like a random RNG element of the Mr. Negative rotation that we can get immediate value from the Mr. Negative 1/4 play, but it's very RNG based. So let's go ahead and jump into round number 4. See if we can close this one out. They have 3 bars of health left. Project Pegasus is big for them, but also kind of big for us. They could get a Mr. Negative on 1. We get an Infinite on 1, which I feel has to be infinitely better, because now they'll have to play away from Project Pegasus, or they should. They do get Mr. Negative on 1. That's wild. They're gonna have all game to draw into their inverted resources, and so depending on what they had, ooh my goodness, and then they draw them all immediately. Huge. Let's go ahead and we are going to... I guess do we go ahead and Spider Ham? Go ahead and drop a Spider Ham on him. We do have Cosmo to try to block a Mystique copying the Iron Man in this left lane. And then it's just overcoming one other lane. So I'm going to go ahead and snap into this. I know that they got all their inverted cards, but honestly, their high roll is not that fantastic. And so we do force the retreat. 2 more left. So each round could be the potential ender now. And so they're going to have to stage a huge comeback. 5 in a row, which is difficult to do. The Onslaught Citadel is a tough location. They have a lot of ongoings. But we can magic that location as long as we draw into it. Or if we don't, then we're just going to play away from there. But they don't have a... They may still have a Wong. This one's the pig, but I feel like they probably have a Wong instead. But getting a Wong into a Mystique, into an Ironheart over here would be phenomenal. We could Psylocke into Moon Girl early. That way we have the double She-Hulk. Yeah. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to hope that either they or we draw into magic to play on 5 in Onslaught Citadel. The Zabu is big, getting that huge early reduction. It's massive. And then the cloning vats is also really big for them. They don't want to clone their Mr. Negative. I also don't want to keep it. I feel like this is a gut read thing. It's probably not the right play. We're going to try to stop them from getting their high roll. No way. We blocked their Mr. Negative. Huge. We sacrificed the bestest of boys Cosmo in the process, but we did stop Mr. Negative from triggering. And so that stops a lot of their high roll and being able to flood like a lot of things into the cloning vats. And so we will proudly and very gladly take it. I'm going to do Moon Girl into Murder World right now. We don't have magic, and so we don't know if we're going to be able to change that left lane. If we draw magic here, beautiful. We did not, though. Okay. So let's skip, soak, float. Actually, we don't have anything that we're floating or soaking. We're just going to skip. And then on the last turn, hey, Jubilee is big. Jubilee into magic for us is big as well. Into the Mystique is massive. Okay. I know we skipped last turn. I really feel like we skip one more time and hit them with an Infinite She-Hulk Titania combo. And that makes sure we don't have initiative. I like this. Devil Dino on the right is big. That they will get another one. Maybe they play for the left lane. What do they rotate into here? Really anything is okay. White Tiger. White Tiger's big. But that gives us a very specific amount of power to overcome. They had a Blue Marvel, right? Blue Marvel could give this +8, bringing it up to a max of 14. Wow, that's kind of wild that it can get that high with a Blue Marvel play. I think we lose to the Blue Marvel play. I don't know. We're going to go with this and see. It really comes down to what they have, where they play it. Because if they don't, I don't know. They could play away from Onslaught Citadel, assuming that we're going to play away from Onslaught Citadel. They could also just Blue Marvel over here. And if that's the case, I think we win the Cloning Vats with the Infinite She-Hulk combo. Blue Marvel. Okay, so Reed was good so far. Ooh, the Ironheart. Oh, okay, it all goes in the right lane. Wow. We should have fought for the left. Had any of them went left, had a couple of them not all stacked in this right lane, we would have had that one. That is wild. Onslaught Citadel would have been the play. Darn. Oh well. It was a good read. We had a couple of good reads there. It is just one small break in the armor. Let's go ahead and see if we can close this one down in 6 instead of in the 5. Okay, so Monster and Monster Island's big for their potential Iron Man play. And so we have to be kind of cautious of that. Never mind. They don't have a potential Iron Man play. My goodness, that is unfortunate. She-Hulk, Moon Girl, massive. Massive value. Let's go, I guess, probably Sunspot. So next turn we can do armor. Without the Iron Man, that takes away so much of their high roll. Iron Man into the Mystique, the flip into just like having that massive amount of power and resource. So we do get Nebula now. Let's go armor. Let's go Nebula in the right lane. They don't have a way to destroy any of them, so the armor is just for pure power. But let's go with that. Next turn, we're going to go Moon Girl. We'll have the double She-Hulk to lean in on the final turn, giving us some phenomenal reach in the process. We also get Infinite. So if they play a magic, big. Now we have the Sunspot on the board, so when we skip and float, like we did last time, it'll be okay. We'll at least retain some of that power. So let's go Moon Girl here. And then they do get their Mr. Negative on 4. Later than they would have liked, I'm sure, though. So Titania comes down. Let's go ahead and skip and float. And then we'll do She-Hulk, She-Hulk, Titania. Now, if they do a magic, then we can skip and soak one more time. Do an Infinite She-Hulk, She-Hulk. Okay, and so they did change it into Limbo. Let's go ahead and soak one more time. That gives us a lot of power in the left lane. And we have the double She-Hulk. We have the Infinite, and we have the Titania that we'll be able to use and leverage as well. Okay, so Jubilee, big. If we were worried about them changing this lane again, we definitely would have potentially played it a little bit differently. But since we weren't, I think we're perfectly fine. Infinite, She-Hulk, She-Hulk, Titania, and just play away from Limbo. I feel like either way, we commit to 2 of the 3 because we have such a large reach. Now, the Devil Dino here may put them into like a comfortable spot. So I think that's where we're gonna catch them. And so, ooh, they do go ahead and play, oh, the Blue Marvel. Blue Marvel is big, not quite big enough. Ooh, into the Mystique, maybe it is big enough. Blue Marvel into Mystique is big. Into the Ironheart, oh my gosh. If they come back and win this one still, no, there's no way. Okay, not even close. Not even close, my friend. We will go ahead and close out the match against the very, very interesting Mr. Negative deck. And that will give us our next Infinity ticket. Let's go ahead and watch this animation play out. We're grabbing 1 more Infinity ticket for our grind whenever it opens up in a couple of weeks. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a like and a comment down below. And as always, this has been TLSG. Later, guys.